Hello, everyone. My name is Emily, and I did my policy brief all on the importance of providing financial assistance for single parent families, specifically within daycare. So, helping single parent households pay for their kids to be a part of daycare programming. So, here's the problem. As we've been learning about single parent families, are also sometimes known as fragile families because of the disadvantages that the kids often face when they are growing up in one parent households. And so children that have higher levels of risk, like single parent families do, in their early years are actually less likely to perform well in school. They're more likely to have problems in school, problems with their education. They're less likely to go on to further education, and so on and so forth. So single parent families come with a lot of risk, often for the kids, and that risk often leads to less education. And there is a dangerous cycle that's actually involved in this. So I have a little graphic right there. But the less educated that you are, the more likely you are to not get married and to have kids out of wedlock, and to therefore be in part of single parent households usually. So that's one trend. And then children that are born out of wedlock, born into single parent households, or to parents that are cohabitating, or so on and so forth, are more likely to have disadvantages. So they're more likely to have high risk situations and to face barriers when trying to do normal day-to-day tasks and things like that. And so then the more disadvantages that an individual has, the less likely they are to be educated. And uneducated people are more likely to bear children out of wedlock, and the cycle actually starts over. So that can create a very dangerous trend, which creates just more single parent households and less educated individuals, which just sets them up for barriers later on as well. So we're kind of setting them up for failure in some ways. And so the more that we can do now to help the cycle prevent from starting over and starting over and starting over, the better. And so children in single parent households are also more likely to display delinquency and externalized problems as they're growing up and going into their teenage years. They're just more likely to run into issues and to have problems emotionally and relationally and academically as well. So here's what we're dealing with, here's where we are, and here's what I think one of the solutions can be. So Head Start programs are daycare programs for low income households. So families that meet a certain income level or below are allowed to have their kids be a part of these daycares for free. The government funds those. And these have proven to have a lot of benefits. And so kids that are involved in these Head Start programs, they see an increase in parent involvement. So parents are actually more likely to be involved in their kids' education and in their growth and well-being, which is huge. That makes such a positive impact. Kids are also more likely to have an increase in cognitive skills and in social emotional skills as well. So these first few years are formative, as we learned about in human development and in all of our courses. They're huge for growth and for development. And so that the more that we can help these kids grow those cognitive skills, grow those social emotional skills, the better. Kids that are involved in these programs are also more likely to succeed in kindergarten and in elementary school. So while daycare is not something that's actually required, the more that kids are involved in daycare, the more likely they are to do well in elementary school. And their success in elementary school actually leads to greater levels of success in future schooling. So even though elementary school and kindergarten might seem less important, the better that they do then, the better they'll do in middle school, high school, and even future education. So like I said, these programs are for low-income households, government funded, and I think that they should extend to one-parent households as well, regardless of income level. So right now, they're set up to where you would have to prove an income level, and like I said, if you meet a certain criteria, then you're able to be funded for your kid to attend those daycare programs. But because of the one-parent household trends that we saw a few slides ago, I think it's really important that these programs are accessible for one-parent households as well. So while some one-parent households will meet those income requirements, not all do. And so if we extend it, we allow the government to fund all of those families. I think that can make some really positive changes and throw some barriers in the cycle to stop it from repeating over and over again, which would hopefully bring some positive change that could combat the negative effects that are often seen in one-parent households. So these are my references. I tried really hard to do a hanging indent. It was not working for me on PowerPoint, so they're not exactly correctly formatted, but These are all the things that I use to talk about the importance of Head Start programming and the disadvantages that kids in one-parent households often face. So that is all. Thank you.